Hello and welcome to Coffee and Bonsai with Tom. Today we are going to prune and repot this little Portulacaria Afra, and I'm jumping right in here. Not going to do any major pruning. This tree has lived its entire life in this little pot, and I pruned it not that long ago, so I want to just give it a quick tune up here and then put it in a more fitting pot. I feel like it needs a little more leg room. This was a great pot to start out on, but I want to get one that's maybe a little wider and sort of get some horizontal roots going. And you can see also it has grown into not being straight, so we're going to tilt it forward a bit and get that sorted out as well. And it's always interesting to me, I see some bonsai folks pot first and then prune. I prefer to prune first. But let's get this puppy out of the pot. I have a wire in here, and we'll see what the roots look like. But yeah, I prefer to prune first. I mean, sometimes I prune heavily, right? And so that could completely change my selection of pot. This guy doesn't want to come out of here, so I have to wiggle it loose a bit. As I said, it's been in here a while. And this pot's really cool. It has like ridges on the inside. The roots just kind of grab onto. But yeah, I prefer to do the pruning first, although in this case we didn't do much pruning. It looks pretty good as it is, just in case the tree dramatically changes, which would influence the pot choice. Boy, this one is really in here. I'll tell you, these these ridges that this bonsai artist put in there really work. The roots really have something to hold on to. I'm just going to dump some of this soil out here to create less of a mess, and there it goes. So yeah, it has a nice tight little root ball. Like I said, there's not a whole lot of room in there, but the roots it does have look good. And I'm not going to do a lot of root pruning on this today. I'll kind of rake it out a bit just to sort of see what we have. But, I don't want to inflict much damage to the tree. I want to sort of put it right back in the pot. We're kind of midsummer here, and let's try a couple of pots. This is a beautiful Hattori pot I have, and I just kind of love this green with the line on it. I think that would be a fabulous choice right there. We're going to use my 3-pot strategy. There's probably a couple other pots that I just want to try out here. I love this green one. It has sort of like these horizontal cracks up and down. This one seems like there's slightly more room, but boy, what a pretty pot. And I do think that the, it looks good in this pot. I think it gives it a little bit more room to grow. And, I think the leaves and the pot are kind of a nice match there as well. It helps to flip back and forth. I think this one looks good as well. It sort of has different angular sides, and if you look at it, it's got a really awesome patina on it. This nice blue line on the bottom. This is also both of these pots are Hattori pots. I think all the ones that I'll be looking at here are Hattori pots. I kind of went through a phase where I was acquiring some of his pots because I just really like the patina. The pots look far older than you might think they would. That looks really good actually, but let's now let that sit a little and look at this. Yeah, somehow I think the balance is a little maybe better with this pot, and I kind of like I sort of like the green. Like the green sort of really matches the leaves well. But also this too, you sort of have a faded kind of almost green, and then it almost turns yellow as you kind of go up, and then the blue's kind of nice. But I think in the end, I'm kind of liking this one a bit more for sure. But let's try something wild and pop this one in there. Now I really do like this. I mean, that the contrast of that blue with the green really pops. I kind of want this tree to grow a little bit, so I'm not completely sure on the size, but that is a handsome looking pot. I mean, I think it, having just the difference in color, it almost works as well as this color, which is much more complementary to the leaves, right? I mean, you can sort of either have them be similar or completely different. And let's take a look at this pot. I'll give you a close-up here. You can see it's got some age on it. Now I did buy it used. I don't really know how old it is, but just a charming looking pot. It's got like a nice soft look to it, and the cracks just really look nice. And I don't know, it's one of the pots I just really like it. So let's check the other side. I think either side would work as the front with the pot, but I just really like this pot. So I'm going to prepare it. I kind of jumped ahead a little bit here and didn't show putting in the screens, but someone was asking me how I do this, and this is it. I just bend the wire and shove it through the bottom and pull it through, and then I'm going to wire this tree in, obviously. So that's basically how I do my wire, and it's that simple. So put a little bit of soil in there, and I think the pot is ready to accept the new tree. So I do want to comb out the roots a bit here, so I'll move the pot out. I'm not going to do detailed root pruning or anything like that, but it makes sense to break this ball up a little bit and make sure there's no problems that we don't want to live with going on in here. And it'd also make it just easier to go from being in sort of a deep round pot, sort of a pit-shaped pot, to something that's a little flatter. So I kind of want to open this up a little bit, but I'm being really gentle, and I'm not really hammering the roots. And like I said, I don't really want to do much to the roots here unless I think it's necessary. And it's looking pretty good as is. I think they'll appreciate having a little more run room. So I'm looking forward to see how the tree reacts in its new pot and fresh soil. Let me just clean some of this stuff out of here. I have this turntable. It's got a rubberized top, which I really like, but it makes it a little hard to sweep things. So let's put the tree in here. We'll see what we think. Yeah, I think that's the right choice, especially now that we flattened it out a little. You can see the tree's a bit lower. Let's see, I put a little soil in here and try to position the tree mostly from left, right, and get the leaning angle correct and all that. And you can see I've got some root here that's really, and then this kind of curls up and sticks out, and I think I'll just take it off. I think it's it's kind of a minor one cut, although it's a big chunk of root, but the tree will be fine. And I think it'll just fit in the pot better, and I won't have this surface root sticking out there in the future. So I'm just going to sort of splay the roots and kind of get them in the soil in the way that I want, and then we will position the tree in the pot here. And it helps to just go around and just kind of gently move them where you want to go. I mean, this pot, these shallow pots have a lot of moisture down low, so this tree will send roots down there right away to get it, so they'll kind of naturally grow. I think I want it a bit off to the left more, and make sure we get the angle right. I think that's pretty good from a off center, maybe a slight bit more. Yeah, I think that looks great. Yeah, so let's see, we'll put a little more soil in here to help just get the positioning right before we put the wire on, and then we'll of course put more soil in as we go. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I'll get the angle a little bit forward here. As I said, we had the tree leaning back quite a bit in the previous pot, so I don't want to repeat that here. At least I want to start it out straight. And I'm using Superfly bonsai soil for this, by the way. I really like their soil. It's kind of great for small plantings like this because the aggregate's really small, and the trees just really seem to love it. It has a lot of it has a mixture of akadama and pumice in there, and there's not a whole lot of soil in here, so it helps keep the moisture in. And I'm just going to work this in a little bit because I think this is about how I want the tree. So I just sort of hold it, and we will put some more soil in here and then just kind of work it in, and that pretty much holds the tree where it is. Now I'm not going to use rocks this time because I just love the I'm in love with the pot and the clean look of this tree, so I'm going to use wire here and instead of rocks because I just want to enjoy this guy for the rest of the summer. So I think it's time to put the wire on. And I just kind of bend it over, and you can see you got a lot of overhang here. I find it easier if you just kind of snip off what you know you're not going to need, otherwise it just kind of gets in the way. And you just gently twist it here to get it started, and I like to use a small set of pliers to sort of tighten it up a bit. Now I say tighten, but I mean I'm definitely not making this tight because you know, these are a type of jade in the end, and they're not super hard like a hardwood tree. So you just need enough to keep it from falling out of the pot if a wind or a squirrel comes around. I think that looks pretty good. I mean, so I'm just going to mound the soil in here, and we'll work it in a bit more. But yeah, I think this is looking great. Of course, I like to snip the extra wire off. Like I said, I'm going for a clean look on this planting. A lot of them, you know, I just pile rocks on and don't care, but especially these small trees that sit in the front of the larger ones on the bench, so you notice these when you look at it. I kind of stack them 2 or 3 deep. And here's another little technique I'll mention, how I hold my fingers. Like if you kind of hold your fingers together and slide the chopstick or whatever you have between it, it actually works pretty well because, you know, I kind of start from the outside in, and by holding it down, it sort of prevents the soil from just moving, and it kind of pushes it, you know, down in between the roots, which is really kind of what you're trying to do, and to fill in any spaces you have in there, and get good, you know, root to soil contact. But you know, take it easy. We're not dislodging a hornet's nest or something here. You want to be really gentle, but I think that looks pretty good and nice looking little tree for sure. So I'm going to go ahead and give this guy some watering, and then we'll bring it in and do the victory lap. So there we go, a beautiful little tree. And you know, as we do the victory lap, I'll leave you with this parting thought that you know, sometimes a different pot makes all the difference, you know. And if you don't disturb the roots much, especially with these Portulacarias, you can repot them anytime and really just get a nice marrying of tree and pot. And with that, you know, I think that's a wrap. And I want to thank you for spending time with me and watching this video. And I look forward to seeing you all again very soon.